This is day 574 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It'd be very greatly appreciated. Sorry for my voice. I'm still sick with the flu. And the Hashem will get better and better. Today we are doing Siman Shin Lamed Ches, Sif Ches, to Siman Shin Lamed Ches, Sif Yud Dalet. And we'll talk about Hashma's Kol. Ches. This is a very famous Arukh HaShulchan, one I really like. It's a fascinating one. Fidah. You should know. Pimash beyond based on what we explained. Maybe we can find some kind of merit. That which in our great iniquity. Decades already. That the plague is spread by Chazanim. They use tuning forks on Shabbos. When they do this in order to make their singing more pleasant in its tone. They put the fork between their teeth. His name Kohan Gina, and the ears hear the sound of its melody. This way they know how to set their singing. It's a mamish klishir, but still a shir. The tuning fork is really a klishir. It's made for shir. Even though they're close, we can't. We don't have capacity to protest. Rabbis can't protest chazanim. They say they can't do their job without the tuning forks. With our great iniquity, the generation is busted open. And the masses support the chazanim. Now there's no capacity to protest. But even somebody wants to leave the shul because the chazan is doing this. This provokes great machlokas. So, maybe because the sound of its tone can only be heard from his mouth to his ears. It's only for a moment. Its purpose is for the singing of the mouth. Which we saw is never forbidden. Maybe it's not one of the Chachamim ban. Much Kasano seems to papesh. Doesn't he have no papesh? It's like you're about whistling when you put your hand into your mouth. It's imperative that we're Malamid Chus here. Ki Chalil Amar Shekhaisa Koshlu Be'Easter Shvus. The Chas Hashem to say Am Yisrael's Nichshal all the time in a prohibition of the Rabbanon. Magam Bamlan feel if they melch Machi Allah of Kodesh Baruch Hu, and especially just before they stand and feel it before Kodesh Baruch Hu. So I had my cousin, the Samson Beckhofer, the choir master many years at K&J, Kaldas Ashur, the Boyers. He had at one point, if I understand correctly, a Boulevard watch. And the Boulevard watch, I guess an early electronic watch, had a specific hum in a minute. And the hum was a specific note, I don't know, B flat, I don't remember what it was. And he would use that instead of a tuning fork. I don't know that Chazanim do use tuning forks anymore, but I don't really have that much to do with the world of Chazanos. But if they do, then they have to rely on the Arukh HaShulchan's Limud Chus. Now, once the Arukh HaShulchan is on this topic of Chazanim, he goes further in the brackets. Also, when they say the words and they say them again and again. When they put their note, the books with the notes in front of the Amud Lamani Zamru Api Chukei Azimra, in order that they should be able to sing based on the laws of music. We're all God-fearing people are anguished in this. They don't have the capacity to protest. Because the masses are wild. They don't listen to the words of Chachamim with respect. I don't know. I don't think we have chazaras in this thing. With this crazy drive to hear chazarim nowadays. Probably because we have other outlets for music besides chazaras, which is only once the only outlet. But the masses do not want to give in on this. But with some onik Shabbos, onik Yontif. That's what they get Simchas Shabbos, Simchas Yontif. Perhaps there is no prohibition in this. In doubling and tripling the words, and in using the musical notations. But a person who wants to be good before God will flee from this. We come here to Bilam Tzchus on the holy nation, which is blind to this prohibition. Perhaps if Chazal said only Shema Shema, there's a problem. You say Shema twice. Shema and B'shari table slays Lamba. And there must be with other words, you don't have a problem. In Kopli L'Shalshin, if they double or triple it. The Gamal Notin have Prusiv Ne'amud. Also the books with the notes, which they have open in front of the Amud. Ein lo lamar b'zetam isabor. We can't say a specific, definitive prohibition. It seems also, but it's hard to pin it on a specific prohibition. And therefore, leave the Jews alone in this respect. Mutav Shogegin, better they should do it as Shogegin and not as Mazidim. Because if we tell them not to do it, and we are Mocha, perhaps we're just going to do it liberally, which is worse. Test. Okas Abdosa Kos B'Shabbos Eldes Tabasa Kavo B'Delas. Abishem Chavin L'Shir. Well, Amos says you can't knock on the door with the ring which is on the door knocker, even though it's not for purpose of music. Since that is the purpose of the Keli Osir. So the Shamish now allowed to be banged on the door to wake people up with the normal Keli which he uses for that purpose. The halacha is not sure. Perhaps even called Klisha Machtul Isser. El Mikam Makeb Yodol does he has to hit with his hand on the door at Kalashon. In some places the Shamash uses another tool on Shabbos. It was Barry Yof and Tam Easter Zeh. It's not clear why this should be prohibited. Came I know so clear share. Stop music. Beishis Shuman and those say the Came Shaklim Yuchal Lokach, since the vessel is unique for this purpose, Chashin and Shema were afraid maybe Yechavin Lashir will have in mind to do music. It's Yosef. I'm going to move, I don't stand this. Now I don't leave Zorkain. Why should you make a Xera like this? So to have a Xera, it's also like a Xera on top of another Xera. Near this, some should move to the Chol. If there's a prohibition, it's not because Ashma is Chol, but because it moved to the Chol. Because of conduct yourself in the way you do in a weekday. Mishnah Berurah said, Be'alacha, goes to that reason, but Shad Tzir, he writes a standard reason, maybe you'll fix it. Rashi says that Tasim going out custom to Kamochen, also we close with Tzua, Shabbat Hamoni al Paroches. He says now I to put a belt with bells on Paroches. I sham. They are Dima, Fima Prat, Fima Sham, Duke already yesterday. We saw the Arukh HaShulchan disagrees with that. He also disagreed with the knocker. Maybe that's only going to be Yosef. And here it doesn't say that according to that, he's not lenient over here. He goes to the Ramah, lets it go at that. So according to this, I guess he holds that, so the Chatchila wants you not use the knocker on Shabbos. Okay, Yud. Yesha Karmon Shitir Lomar any Yudi is Nagim Shabbos Klishir Bechupos. Those who allowed to tell non-Jews to make music on Shabbos when you make a chuppah. To have a shvus to shvus, because it's a shvus to make music, the shvus, but be a mirakum. Welcome it's a simcha bakal, welcome it's a simcha chas bakal, goes to Rabbanan. And in place of simcha chas bakal, Rabbanan didn't ask this. In the old days, now you don't find it at all. In the old days, they used to make chas this Friday afternoon. And go into Shabbos. Just to save some money, among other things, because you have to make a elaborate Shabbos meal anyway. But, so this was not, it was prevalent, not like it is today. The last famous person to make a chas like that, I believe, was Rafuta for his daughter. It's usher. Yimbi was manazen ogul hakel. The time she's barba simon she'achazelian tipuach v'rikud. However, I skipped. Sorry. Kasser ben Ramah b'si base. Ramah writes, I feel Lamar any Yehudi even tell non-Jew attacking at Klishir to fix the musical instrument is mutter. It's permissible. Nekov gav chasim kala because the honor chasim kala v'la b'chi otherwise be forbidden. Mizman is in a hula kel. In our day and age, the minigus to be lenient by the time she's barba simin shachayz lenient tipuach v'rikud akam l'shono, as we shall see in terms of clapping and dancing in the following simon. This is pretty astonishing. Last Latira Mir Lakum is the Daraisa. To fix the case cliche is the Daraisa, not the Rabbanan. Be'afshar Sholech L'Shitaso, B'Simon Rachel involved Shitiru Lamar, Le'Yudi La'Liklo Ne'Lekovat Suda Shabbos. That's going to Shita, that you're allowed to tell non-Jew to light a candle for the Kovetz Suda Shabbos. Requiring these bar B'Sham She'en Alacha Kain. I assume that's because the Arukh HaShulchan does not pass the Baalita, the Malkum Tzar Gadol. I mean, like his mutter, as we said several times. Nowadays, we never heard such a heter. I feel about any Yehudi not game b'chli b'Shabbos kol b'chos kala, even to tell a non-Jew to make music on Shabbos kol b'chos kala, much less to fix the keli. Chaminos now game is that all countries, the custom is to forbid this. The Shabbat writes in Simchas Chos Kala, you can tell a non-Jew to make music. There are places which are not lahachmir. But in any event, in other types of Simcha Shal Mitzvah, it seems to the Mushta it's also. Wow, Mr. Bruce seems to hold that you cannot do this. He's much more means Arukh HaShulchan. Wow. But back to Arukh HaShulchan. Kavachom, let my little talking cliche. It's only us them to fix the vessel, a musical instrument. They may really bummy. I told that game because Kaylee, if the non-Jew comes to his own volition to make music, eight says, you don't have to protest against him. Avalolo Marlo Linar Gain. But don't tell him to make music. I feel better Shabbos. Lo Yomarlo. Shua b'Shabbos. Linar Gain Makeli. When you're in Erev Shabbos, don't tell him to come on Shabbos to play the instruments. Then mean a Pashman of Shabbos is the widespread custom, and one should not deviate from it. Mr. Bura again says it's mutter. Even those are also talking about Shabbos, it's mutter if you tell them on Erev Shabbos. Wow. Okay, brackets. Mashkosim itam she is bar v'sim shin lamates. Zeu minei she'enu b'kim b'tim klei shir. That's going to say that clapping and dancing are on prime because we're not Bucky in how to fix musical instruments. Ayin sham. Zeu tipuach riku. That works for clapping and dancing. Avlo nagi mamish, but not for actual making music. Chalil hater b'zeh chas v'shalom to allow this. Al yaf hamishame process rab mimnei chayav of. Somebody is trying to watch his fruit and his seeds that they shouldn't be eaten by an animal or by a bird. Lo you spoke kaf kadei should not clap in order to shoo them away. Slap your hand on your thigh. Also shouldn't dance around in order to frighten them and scare them away. Even though it's not relevant to the, let's fall into the category of the decree against who's clapping dancing, which we're going to see in the next simon. Not clapping dancing, clapping and hitting one's thigh. But they made exactly you might got to fix musical instruments. It's only where you do it for enjoying for song. Not in this case. This is also in Shema because maybe when you see you're not going to be able to shoo them away that way. You told Tzor, you're going to take a pebble or a stone. And you toss at them. From Rishus Yachid to Rishus Rabbi is the Doraisa in order to get them to go away. But perhaps we have no Rishus Rabbi according to the sheet of the Arukh HaShulchan. Maybe we're allowed to clap and bang. I feel you throw a tzor, lo yabali that used to because even we toss a pebble, won't come to this to Doraisa. Mr. Buddha says what you should do is clap kalachayat. That's certainly mutter. Even those who hold that there's Rishus Rabbi Bisman Zeh, you don't be concerned that you're going to take a pebble because you have hecker that you have to clap kalachayat that makes it okay when I choshish. Yud base. Ain't soaking megos v'gabe karku. He mentions where you can't play with nuts on the ground. Lo tabuchim not with apples. It's roll on the ground as well. Because they are shemi avo shashvos gumas because you might come to smooth out the surface. Yachai b'shim bonim b'bayis. Yachai does a building in the house. Shuchorish b'soim because of plowing in the field. Also, she don't sell many pairs of times that any fruit is also this account. Abagabe is shown on a table, a baishesh boritzva, or a house which has a floor, much permissible. The Shemara asks us even on a floor, because you might come to mix up ground with ground. On top of a mat, or a garment, or a tablet, he says it's mutter because that's xera. But anyway, back to Arukh HaShulchan. He says, by she allows it by Shish Boritzba, but Zelo Shaykh is because there's no smoothing the surface in that case. Logos do out to Skoka, Gabekaka, they didn't make a decree unless you come to play on the ground. Moshe Somin came to with a bias, like those who say that about sweeping the house. The Skok, Eino, Dover, Shel Kvius. You can see him in the same name. You don't play all the time to make a xer out of it. We came with the Skok about so much of Korean Kashich, which they do Maustekes. You use bones and somehow they make noise. Obviously, machine called b'shas ha'eis they make noise when you're playing. Because you bang them at each other. You come nevertheless. Came on Jairus kosher shir since it's not the music of a musical instrument. Mudar kamo shen needs bar. It's first because we have explained. He says, Shabura says. They used to make these bones out of silver, so they should be special for Shabbos, because otherwise it looks like moves in the chol. Yud Gimel. V'tah, you should know the meaning of skok, ain't heterak, skok ba'alma. To engage in these fun and games is the only way you do it for fun and games. But skok, they are real, but you do it in order to make money, also. That's like buying and selling. Sokim betam u'v'chaser, I'm not sure what this means. It's going umgrad, complete and lacking. It's lots of times there. I'm not sure what it is. Sorry. She writes, several Gdolim banned all games on Shabbos. Because there's no advantage in knowing how to play the game. And even on a weekday, you should be careful because of Moshe Leitzim. I don't think this is the case today, but many people are likely not to use games to play money today, such as Monopoly. Okay, back to the Arukh HaShulchan. He's going to explain Umgrad a little bit later down. Some people play with nuts in order to make a profit. Also, it's forbidden. That which women and children who play. They're all right, you shouldn't protest against them. The mutzvah you shogim about, they're going to do it anyway. So better to do it as a shogim than as amazing. Come by the bottle, then we're not going to listen to us. With the Rabbanan, Mutav, and it's the Rabbanan, we say better than should be shogim and not mazidin. He's the Beit Reish, Perek Dal, Ein Sham. For like to be unknown, God, perhaps according to that which is customary today, She'en Mischayvin. But we don't really play this for winning or losing. They just do it for entertainment. Such as if my nut hits your nut, you get to take the friend's nut. Wow. And if he doesn't hit it, and the friend gets the nut, that's not, it should be Larviach. You take several nuts in your hand, close the hand. I guess even or odds. Odds are even. Meshiv tamo, meshiv chaser. Says either even or odd. Upaseches yodo, he opens his hand, monim, and they count. Imu kafima shamar sheni, zachasheni bahem. If it's like the same guy said, he gets them. If it's the opposite, same guys give nuts to the extent that the first guy added his hand. Vein with focus out kasmach the mama. It's not really. It's only being done for a fine form of gambling, which is not really for profit. The local it's not like commercial activity. Lamisha Slavish that smach lokania, and according to those all that smach lokania, that's something done without full intent, without a true kinyan, and shalim, not required to pay. Sorry, Lamisha Slavish that's smach lokania, and shalim. Mashim shalim Slavish he pays. Ain't no element tanabam. It's only a gift. Famous exercise make a chumem and that's not done for the category of commercial activity. Can't really use Daitel Mitzchus, he says. This is Mitzchus Tzchok. The Kadurni is part of Simon Shinches. Playing with the ball is an issue. Yudal, Tom Shili Ervin. Learn the man of Ervin, Mamalami Bora Gola, Mibera Gola, but Galga Bashabas. You can use a pulley to fill up from from the Bor Hagola, which I think was the base of Mikdash, and from a well on Shabbos. Maybe yes, my Mikdash Lo Medina. In the base of Mikdash, not in the countryside. Because there is Shema Yamali, so why not in the countryside? Outside the Mikdash, Shema Yamali, because it might fill up to water your field. To water your chorba, where you're growing stuff. So Shemali Bobulo Torach, since it's easy with a pulley to pull up water. Asi Lashkos Boginosu Kubas B'Shabbos. To water your garden or your chorba on Shabbos. Oshi Yamali Men Mishresh Pishtor, maybe use it to soak flax. First, Magmar Shamdim Loya Sham Logina Churba Grechel Shasam Pishtan. But it says that there isn't there not a garden, nor churba, nor a pool to soak linen. Motzai Mitzvah Logazu out of Shem because they make zero unless you come do it in other places. Hesham says Shpishlo Mari Bestam Galgal. There are those who are rabbis who say something about a regular pulley. Chagam Lo Shach Lizor. There's no reason to make zero regular pulley. Losu Galgal Godol. He only asked to buy a large pulley. Which moves large amounts of water without any effort. So Gadol Hakvuim Bo Harbe Dlim Sivo. And he defines that as a pulley which has many, like a Ferris wheel, many buckets on it. And they fill up together and they spill together. But our pulleys we don't use so much. Mutter is permissible. Like the mechash meidi, we're not concerned that going to use it to water your fields or anything. Can't ikar kadei azu, and one is allowed to be lenient, as according to this opinion.